showtime.
Dynamite download.
Dynamite download, your home for all positive coverage with all elite wrestling.
Oh, you guys, positive energy.
This reality, like, it is me. Like,
Who let
Oh
this
my
guy in here?
This is what pro wrestling's supposed to feel like.
I'm saying I have a better record than Kenny Omega and Samoa Joe, and now I'm going to have to wrestle them.
I've never seen someone able to break down like wrestling like he does.
I said, Mariah May. She said, who?
Because I'm so driven, and I'm so moved to like what I want to do.
Versus Brian Keith match. It's awesome.
Oh, it's so cool. You got like these creepy ass dudes.
Oldest ride, longest line.
I was like deep diving into like cults.
My real story does connect with a lot of people.
I never say never about anything.
Yeah.
Back to do an interview with those guys. You know why? Because they spread positivity about AEW.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
Welcome to Dynamite Download. And coming at you tonight, SBD is on a very crucial assignment. More details on that tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern when we go through the our Forbidden Door prediction show. But tonight, if you ain't down with that, I got two words for you. Guns up, because we got the Dynamite Club Gold, or Dynamite's up. I don't know. We'll come up with something. But acknowledge the Dynamite Club Gold crew is in the house. We've got Miss Courtney. Hello.
hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. And, of course, we've got the brain himself, Brent Ross. What's going on, buddy?
What's up?
What's going on? Brent, fresh off of his tour of duties, including going to a recent live show, which was just, again, spectacular. And, as the three of us sit here smiling through some of the grief that may be happening as a result of our Dynamite Download draft. We're going to get to those current standings in just a moment, but we're here to break down last night's Dynamite and also everything else going along with AEW, get our feels. We've got some hot takes coming through. Appreciate you hanging there. I see Bobby in the chat. King Bobby. We'll definitely give him his flowers. But without further ado, let's get to our chat about the Dynamite draft. All right, and as you read them and weep, as you can see, pay no attention to the right side of the column. We don't have to worry about, especially towards the last two there. But as you can see, going from last year to now first place, the leftover taker is now in first place with 13 points, followed by SBD at 11. Bobby and Full Tilt Deb tied for third at 10. Courtney at 8, again in a solid spot. Anything can happen. Yeah. And then there's two other guys there as well. But anyways, what, Courtney, your thoughts? And again, anything can happen going into Forbidden Door. And this is going to go through All Out in mid-September. So we've got a long summer of earning points. What are your thoughts on the draft so far? And have you been getting some payoffs, or are you not even worried at all?
Well, considering I'm the defending champion of our collision division, I'm feeling pretty good. I got some great talent on my roster. I need to see what's going on with that moving forward. If you notice in our group chat, I am a cheerleader for all of us.
That's true. That is very true.
But I was so excited when I seen Brian on the leaderboard. I was like, "Whoa, Brian! MPW found some leaderboard." I was like, "Go!"
Yeah, again, I love it. It's the reverse of the last season. The story, Bobby versus the leftover taker. Bobby and Brian are in contention for first place overall, and Bobby, of course, is. I feel like my wrestlers are doing great so far. I agree. You guys are doing great. Brent, how you feeling?
I'm the leftover taker, so I'll take them when I can get them. I mean, you never know, but we'll see what happens. Who knows? Maybe Sheeta's going to give me in the tournament here. I think she might.
A very, very strong possibility. I mean, you've got some ringers here. I mean,
yeah. I mean, like Scorpio Sky might be coming back. So,
and actually, Andretti. I mean, he's one that even though he had a loss against Leo Rush, he's still one to keep in contention. Dustin. Anytime Dustin's gonna have an important match, they usually give him a couple matches before to go. So you got some ringers on here. It's kind of sad that the Dark Order haven't been on TV much.
They're doing a lot of Ring of Honor stuff. So,
and also it's unconfirmed, but it looks like on the AEW roster page, Satnam Singh, who has recently been in action, is now he's now gone to the commentary side of things. He's off the main roster. We're gonna wait and make that decision probably when we go to unlock the other 3 picks. We might give you a 4th pick to replace them. But that's the thing. There's still some great talent out there. Anything can happen. And again, Adam Cole comes back. Who knows what's going on with the bad apple? It's with his arm, but you got some good talent there. And my guys, one thing about MJF is he's been on TV. He's had 1 match, but that's been all. But as we saw, anything can happen, and Collision's going to be pretty awesome. But let's switch gears and talk a little bit about last night's Dynamite. Let me start with you. Hey, by the way, Raz, good to see you in the chat. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Raz,
Raz is in the chat. Brent, starting off with you, how would you have overall? What grade or how would you rate last night's Dynamite go home show for Forbidden Door?
I'd give it a solid 8. I thought there were some great matches. I mean, great wrestling, but I mean that's that's what AEW does. They give you great matches and great in-ring work. So, I wasn't surprised, and I just enjoyed myself watching the whole show,
So I totally understand. How about you, Courtney?
I really enjoyed the show last night, especially when they start off with Bro, MJF, and Daniel Garcia in the ring. Oh my God, I kind of lost my shit because I was like that too, and then I was like,
you got to do this.
This is gonna be good, and if they ever do a triple threat, take my money because it'll be a banger of a match.
Well, they're definitely planting the seeds for some stuff. I want to get to some of the scenes here where we had, of course, MJF comes out before he can even really say anything. Daniel Garcia comes out, and I noticed the mood shifted a lot. Daniel here, MJF came with the offer that at All In, it's you and me. MJF versus Daniel Garcia. Before we get into the rest of the promo, Courtney, what were your thoughts when MJF pitched to Daniel Garcia that they would have a match at All In? What was your reaction? Were you excited about that, or were you expecting more?
I was excited and okay with it because this is a big pay-per-view for AEW, and this is going to be a huge match, whether or not it's main event or as a starter. It's going to be a banger because MJF, we know he's our Scuds bucket, and we know Mr. Danny likes to dance, so I'm very interested and invested in this match.
Yeah. Brent, what are your thoughts, and where do you think they're going with all this?
Well, I'm complete opposite. I was kind of disappointed when I heard it, since we have already saw the match, and I thought, Wembley Stadium. I mean, they're gonna have a good match, but it just was just like, uh, I just thought, it was gonna be something bigger, So when Osprey came out and kind of threw a wrench in it, I was kind of more excited about that, and I'm kind of wondering now what's going to happen with MJF. I have a couple theories. I think I was kind of thinking he might be the mystery partner in the tournament, but then I thought, well, maybe not, because didn't the Elite say that they're bringing in somebody?
Yep, and I have some thoughts on that too. I'd love to. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but definitely, I think. Do you guys think that they're maybe setting up, like maybe we are seeing in the bottom picture here what the all-in match is going to be, a three-way dance between these three guys, or is it going to end up being Osprey versus MJF in some capacity, whether it be for any title or just the two of them?
It doesn't even really, to me, it doesn't even have to be really for a belt.
Mm-hmm.
Just put on a great show for us fans to be invested enough to watch the show.
Yeah, and that's something AEW is known. They may sometimes where they might struggle with the setup, they're gonna put on something cool. But I do feel like I'm kind of with Brent in that I was kind of feeling wah with this. Like, wait, what? This is where where they're going after that Roosh thing. And then when you heard Bruv, I mean, I think we all now, the Bruv pop is becoming like the new Glass Shatters, and just the guy's phenomenal. And when he came out, a lot of us were kind of like, huh, what's going on here? I thought that was pretty cool. And then just a quick heads up, I don't know if you noticed, but there was a lot of, there was like a big group of like an entourage walking behind the scenes or backstage. They kind of crossed the hard cam, but that's Daniel Garcia with the Buffalo Kids, and I thought that was pretty cool. Check out the Daniel Garcia shirt with his bloody nose. I mean, it's not quite the Britt Baker bloody face shirt, but it's kind of working its way up there. Let's talk about the opening match. This was just, I don't want to even say chaos if that's the word, but I mean you had the New Japan version of Los Ingobernables versus Blackpool Combat Club, and then of course you can see at the bottom an eye opener, if you will, of an appearance. Let's start with you, Brent. What were your thoughts on the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Los Ingobernables and the results and everything from there?
Well, I thought it was like a crazy match. I mean, it was pretty awesome, pretty much like coming at you the whole time, and to see the DQ, it was kind of neat because you usually don't see a DQ.
Yeah.
So, overall, I thought I was entertained. I really enjoyed myself watching it.
What'd you think of the ending? What did you think of Mox's decision to just like say, screw it, I'm going to hit him with the chair?
I mean, like I said, I thought it was pretty cool.
Courtney's still got the eye. Yeah. Courtney, what about you? Was this quite the eye opener? And what did you think about the post match angle?
Well, again, I lost my mind when I saw my New Japan champion Naito. Okay.
Yep. And president, yes, too.
Yes. And LIJ beating BCC might be just what we need to get fire under the BCC lately, because to me they've been, I don't know, it's ingredient missing from them again. It's a little weird.
Yeah, there's something does seem to be a bit off, and I know that they've teased a little bit of a storyline where Claudio and Danielson aren't quite on the same page. I don't know if they've cooled that or not. It's good to see Wheeler Yuta back. It's a shame that William Regal isn't still with them, though. Him being their kind of patriarch, if you. Oh, sorry, maybe not patriarch. I don't want to use that word. I don't want to get in trouble with any patriarchies out there. But you're right. And going in, of course, we'll talk more on the on tomorrow night's show about our predictions. But I almost see Mox losing the title, dropping the title tonight too. I don't know if you guys agree, but it just seems like, are we going to start to get a more unhinged Moxley, and him losing the title? We're going to see him more on AEW TV, being a lot more unhinged. That's going to be a question? That's a question I'm wondering. What do you think, Brandon? You think we're going to see at the the Blackpool Combat Club evolve a little bit more into a more fiery, more no nonsense, or do you think that's something's going to change? They're going to break up?
I think there's, like you said, with the Claudio thing, I think they're planting some seeds there. I think something's going to happen. And they've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
Either way they go, I mean, which is crazy because they've wrestled each other and, during being together too. So, I mean, if they break up, I think it might be time, but I'm all for them sticking together too. So I'm like in between, because I think it's a good storyline if they're, the breakup and having a bunch of matchups.
Yeah.
I do agree with you that I think Moxley's going to lose. I don't think, on the card, I think there's going to be a lot of AEW wins. So I think, Nato's going to take the title back to Japan. I think that's a good call for that.
I think so. I agree with both of you on that. The advancement in the tournament, we had this, first of all, when I heard Jay White versus Ray Phoenix on the tournament, I was like injected into my veins. It's like, I know that sometimes people get a little roll their eyes, or sometimes people get a little bit frustrated when there's not much of a story. But I mean, a tournament is its own story. That builds its own story. But you tell me that hey, guess what? You're gonna watch them. You're gonna watch Jay White versus Ray Phoenix. I'm like, yes, please plug me in. And to me, it was every bit as awesome. And it was so funny because Full Tilt Deb and I are watching, and she said right before Rick Knox dismissed her, she goes, what's going to happen? All the shenanigans. There's so many people at ringside. And as soon as she said that, Rick Knox ejected everybody. But let me start with Courtney. Your thoughts on this match, and then we'll talk about the tournament overall.
When I saw this match, I was like, all right, we got Jay White, the Switchblade, versus one of my favorites, Ray Phoenix. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be another banger, because we sometimes get banger after banger after banger in these go-home shows. So I was excited. I was pulling for Ray, but I kind of knew. I had a feeling that Jay White was going to win. So it was an awesome match, though.
Brent, do you agree? I mean, was this a disappointment match, or was this every bit as awesome as you expected?
I think this might have been my favorite match of the night. I thought it was awesome. I didn't think that Ray Phoenix was going to win. I think that was kind of a given, but man, can he go in the ring? Same with Jay White. I mean, they just put on a banger. I just had so much fun watching this and watching them go at it. It was really cool. They're both great.
They're both fantastic. And then the aftermath, of course, seeing having Jay White and of course Juice and everybody. And then we had a little bit of a face-off with the patriarchy, which is pretty interesting. But looking at the tournament now, where do you see? Let's just take a look at everything here, and I want to get some speculation from you. What are your thoughts? We've got Pac, of course, advanced on the left. We've got with Bryan Danielson. Is there any chance that he's going to lose in this? What are your thoughts on the tournament so far, Brent?
Man, so this is so hard. I mean, I would really, I mean, I love Bryan Danielson. He is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But like, I also am a huge Pac fan, and man, I would actually like to see Pac beat him. And you know what, Danielson's been taking losses for the team, man. So I don't think he really needs the win. And then I can't determine who the mystery partner is going to be. I was thinking it could be Hangman, but they kicked him out of the Elite. It's not going to be Kenny Omega. I thought maybe, like I said, MJF, but he's not part of the Elite. So who could it be? What do you think?
Well, let me ask Courtney first, and then I've got my theories. Because the Elite said they've got somebody in mind coming back to they got somebody in mind that they're thinking about. What do you think about the tournament? And then who do you think is going to be this mystery entrant who and I do want to talk a little bit about the Jeff Jarrett promo that they had as well. What do you think, Courtney?
All right, so I'm excited because Pop won his match like I predicted, so that's one thing. And I am a huge Pop supporter. I loved him in the other company, and I love him in this company too. Why do I have a feeling they went way back into Jeff Jarrett's like wrestling history and got somebody that maybe is retired and feuded with him in TNA?
Interesting. Who could that be? I mean, especially it couldn't be anybody that used to be married to his wife Karen.
Oh, do you think it's? I think it's Kurt Angle. I'll just say it right now. I think it's Kurt Angle, and if it's the ankle lock, bye Jarrett.
Now, Brett, what do you think? What's the possibility of it being Kurt Angle?
Oh man, I mean that's a good guess.
Yeah,
I would be so shocked if it was.
I think it would be a huge pop. I'm not sure. The streets are saying it's Hangman. The streets are saying that it's going to be Hanger, which is kind of a shame because the Fightful Select said Hanger's on his way back in, and they're going to have him be a heel with the Elite. That's what Fightful was saying, but I think that's a mistake. I think Hangman has earned himself back to being a good guy again. I guess I don't know. That whole mess with Swerve, but I could see them maybe bringing Hanger back in. But the whole thing about I don't know. It's like it's interesting because Bobby's got a good point. What if the Young Bucks bring someone from New Japan?
Oh, well,
could be. I mean, let us know in the chat. What do you think? Who do you think is the mystery? Who do you think is going to be this mystery opponent for Jeff Jarrett? And a real quick question: do you think that the mystery opponent is going to be significant to the tournament, or is it going to be somebody that it's just a kind of a pop and nothing? Because obviously, whoever wins between the mystery opponent and Jeff Jarrett's going to go on to face Jay White.
I just had an idea in my head.
What's that?
All right, so we got the Owen Hart tournament, and I love this tournament for what it's for. What if it's somebody from like I don't know knows Owen Hart personally, or maybe a kid of a legend or something? Maybe
possibility.
Just a scenario that came to my head.
So we'll have to go with the odds then. We'll say streets are saying it's Hangman. Courtney thinks there's a possibility that it's Kurt Angle.
Yes.
Bobby's saying it could be somebody from New Japan. Brent, do you have any if you're gonna put your money on anything, where would you put your money?
I mean, my first guess, like I said, was Hangman, and then I just thought it didn't make sense because he got kicked out of the Elite, and then why would the Elite bring him in? But like, if people are saying on the streets, I don't mind it being Hangman, but it doesn't make sense if it is. But they're saying it is, so I'm just kind of confused.
Yep. Now let's dive into the madness that is Mindrunner's overbooking.
Okay.
Because there's been rumblings of a certain person coming to AEW. There have been those rumors have been refuted, but you know how rumors get refuted and then people show up anyways.
Yes.
There have been rumors. What if Jeff Jarrett comes to the ring, he's ready to wrestle, and then all of a sudden you hear,
"Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
All right. The reaction would be violent, I think, in the arena. What, Brent, you were shaking your head. Courtney, you're laughing. Let's go to Brent first. You were shaking your head, dude. No chance in hell that this guy shows up.
I hope not. I don't want to see him in the ring. I don't want to see a McMahon in AEW. I know it'd probably be good for ratings and business, but I don't watch WWE for a reason, and I just don't want any part of that. And so I'd be so sad.
Would you stop watching AEW if Shane O'Mac joins the Elite?
You know what? I might. I would. I have I have some morals, so I would just probably watch Thunder Rosa matches and tune out.
So Shane O'Mac would be so toxic and poisonous that he'd ruin AEW for you. I mean,
yeah, I never even liked him as a wrestler. I thought he was lame. I just don't want to have him McMahon.
When Snoop Dogg has to carry you in the ring, you know.
Yeah,
not a fan. Not a fan of. I mean, you got to admit, right, Courtney? Shane O'Mac would fit in with the arrogance of the Elite.
He would. He got that money, ching ching. But yeah, I was laughing because I saw the tweet by Conrad. The text message is probably there. I don't know for sure. But let's, I guess, see what happens. But last time I saw Shane, he was pretty battered and he did it on his own redundant. So it's his fault.
Yeah. He's pretty bad. Courtney, I think we're getting an echo from you. I don't know if you want to maybe check your volume a little bit, but
okay.
Otherwise it's good. Yeah, but I could tell. I think Brent's reaction and Brent and Courtney, your reactions both, I think, were the two reactions that Shane O'Mac would get if that happened. Absolute disgust and just laughing, and I would be laughing. But I mean, I totally get it. I personally don't want him anywhere near our product, but but that would be such a troll thing, even if it was just a one-off, just a troll thing for the Bucks to do, is to have that moment. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Hanger. I think Kurt Angle would be awesome. That would be such a great development. A New Japan star would be great, but imagine the reaction if Here Comes the Money hits when that gets going. But I digest. Let's really quickly talk about this interaction. We have, of course, speaking of the Bucks, the Elite, they were calling out. There's a lot of frogginess going on between them and the Acclaim, but it sounds like Daddy Ass will not be part of this match. Instead, the Scissor Ace is coming. The Scissor Ace himself. What are your thoughts on this, Courtney? What did you think about this instead of Daddy Ass?
Honestly, it had me scratching my head because I'm confused. Why would you not have Daddy Ass there? Like, it's confused. I know it's Forbidden Door and everything. And I'm sorry I'm echoing. I don't know what's going on. But I I'm just scratching my head with this because it looks like Daddy Ass got them to fame,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know about this. This had me scratching my head, but
Okay.
I was excited for Tanahashi.
What about you, Brett? Are you excited, or is this kind of a slap together kind of thing?
I mean, it makes sense. I think with their rivalry in New Japan. I think that's what they're going for the Forbidden Door feel. So it makes sense to substitute Daddy Ass here. I do feel like it was thrown together, but I get the whole concept of the pay-per-view. So like I said, it makes sense. It'll probably be an interesting match. See what happens.
And that is kind of the thing about Forbidden Door is that it's not necessarily a standard. It's not necessarily a standard AEW pay-per-view in that, you're perpetuating existing storylines. It's more that you're creating storylines for the theme of the match or the theme of the pay-per-view. Because Forbidden Door, you're purposely going outside of the company to have these dream matches. Whereas in a contained pay-per-view, you're perpetuating stories from the show. So I can imagine it's just we're gonna be getting some more of those thrown together type matches. But on the flip side, I thought this was pretty cool. The Scissor Aces. I'm excited for the match. I think, and I'm glad to see that. I'm always happy to get as many AEW talents on the card as possible. And we'll talk tomorrow night about our predictions, but to find those ways to weave everybody and to get new eyeballs on New Japan and CMLL and AAA as well, to get new eyes. And I'm optimistic now that with Triple H kind of running things. It sounds like things are getting better over there in the other company, and with the TNA crossover, we may get to a point. It may be several years off. But we may get to a point where Forbidden Door, we might see a few WWE folks pop in, or you never know. We might start to see that crossover. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where that is. There's a lot of real emotions on both sides with WWE and AEW fans, and to say we all try to keep it positive here, but yeah, it gets pretty hostile out there. There's some people in their feelings. Be interesting to see, but. Speaking of people and their feelings, I think not that. I'm in my feelings about that. I pressed the wrong button. But let's hear from he may be absent in our live screens, but he's not absent in our heart. And he took the time to make sure with his busy schedule to drop a hot take that he has to let us hear. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's hear a hot take from the SPD.
What's up, everybody? This is SPD's Hot Take of the Week. Sorry I couldn't be on the show this week. A lot going on, but we'll see you on the Forbidden Door preview show coming up live Friday night. But Hot Take of the Week, a lot of topics that I wanted to touch on, but one no more important than the main event of Forbidden Door. Swerve, whose house? Strickland, our champion, versus, by God, Will Ospreay. And as we've learned over the last few weeks, stealing the belt, we had the house call recently last night, and all the things going around this. These guys have so much chemistry. They are going to steal the absolute show. This is the main event of the year to date, in my opinion. We predicted this being the all-in main event. But that being said, the controversy that's going to come out of this match, I think a lot of fans are going to be scratching their heads. I think a lot of things are going to be like, why at the end of this show? And it's really going to help out to extend some storylines. I feel like, as we talked about a few weeks ago on Dynamite Download, my predictions for this hot take is the Don Callis family is going to screw Will Ospreay out of this title. He's going to be this close, a 2.9999 pin. Then just like Don Callis did for Kenny Omega, he was going to try to help him win the championship, and it's going to backfire. and it's going to be the Wrath of Will Ospreay. And I think that's a perfect segue. It helps protect both guys that are carrying AEW right now. And so what do you think? What do you think how this main event's going to go, where both guys who are at the top of their game right now really going to help them going forward into All In? So the Don Callis family, Don Callis specifically, is going to screw over Will Ospreay, and it's going to be all over again, the chase where he's going to get his revenge, and I can't wait for it.
All right, let's get your quick thoughts there, Courtney. What do you think?
You know, SPD, I miss you, bro. But I think he's on to something there. The Don, we almost forgot Don Callis family was a thing. Well, I did until he brought it back up. But it's going to be a very interesting. And if they go that way, I think it might work because, as he says, it's Swerve's house, and bruh, we're gonna get a banger match out of both of these men, and they are like you said, they're on the top tier right now. So it's just gonna be an interesting take, and I like this take.
Yeah, I have to. I like the sign that we saw. I swerve when I bruv. That sign in the audience was awesome. Brent, your thoughts? Is this premature? Are you excited about this? I mean, we were kind of hoping this would be the all-in match. And do you think the Callis family's gonna punk out Ospreay in this whole thing?
I think SPD has a great point. I kind of agree with Courtney too. I'm feeling the same way you did too when they announced the match. I was shocked because I was like, Ospreay, you're not going to want him to lose. But like Swerve just picked up the belt, and I love Swerve. Like I don't want Swerve to lose the title already. I want to have him have a decent run. And I was thinking he was going to, that was going to be the matchup at Wembley, like you just said. So I think the only thing that makes sense, because you really don't want either of them to lose. I think it kind of, he pulls it all together. And, we haven't really heard a lot from Don Callis. So I think he's going to show his face and something's going to happen. I think we're all going to be like kind of mad, but it's going to lead into something good.
I think I agree with both the and with SPD, but more so because I've been a fan of AEW since 2019. And I know a thing or two about being an AEW fan. And so, hello, everybody. I just want to let you all know that you can learn a lot from me. When you're an AEW fan, you always got to make sure you trust Tony Khan, because you don't want to be a sad apple. You could be a bad apple, but you got to trust the process. You know that's what's got to happen. Which leads me to my favorite segment of the night, the learning tree. All right. Now, Jericho, when you mentioned Chris Jericho in the AEW fandom, I think currently there isn't a wrestler more divisive at this point, because there's a lot of folks that are go home Jericho, but then there's a lot of us like myself, I think, that are just loving this turning into that go home heat that he's got right now. This learning tree, just smug, almost like in a way he's kind of owning the Jericho Vortex stuff, the conversation, as well as a little bit mocking a certain former AEW talent that now is in WWE that has said that he's there for the youngsters, but behind the scenes it sounded like he was more for himself. We don't have to get into that, but let's start with Brent. What are your thoughts on this segment and the way the whole thing kind of went down, and again the swerve itself, where we thought we were getting his third member, that turned out to not be what we thought?
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way you do about the learning tree. Like, I think he just, I think this happened by accident. And I think he, the way Jericho, he's been in the business so long, he's like, I could turn this into something gold.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, I think, this is turning into something, pretty cool. I've always been a Jericho fan. At first I thought this was a little hokey, but then I started thinking like, what you just said. And I still listen to Talk is Jericho. He introduces me to so much in and outside the wrestling ring. I just think I think he just has a great mind. And I thought the swerve here was really cool. I love the murder grandpa. So
Yes.
I think this is
As
going to
in
be
Ina
awesome.
Ray. And I got to give your flowers and kudos to Big Bill and Brian Keith. I mean, Brian Keith is really I like this bad apple persona he's got, but Big Bill seems to be having the most fun. I don't think this would work without Big Bill doing what he's doing. I think it would be unanimously booing Chris Jericho if Big Bill wasn't like. I mean, this is like, I don't even compare this to Kaz and Enzo. This is like Big Bill he's found himself. Now, granted, we could go off on how much I loved him and Ricky Starks together, but this is the personality and the way that Big Bill is just hamming it up as essentially Jericho's lackey. I'm loving every minute of that. And then of course the kind of the Mr. T Pitbull kind of persona that Brian Keith, you better respect Chris Jericho, sucker, that kind of stuff. But I think we got a different take on this segment from Courtney. Courtney, your thoughts on the learning tree? Is it a wilted shrub, in your opinion?
It's a get off my TV kind of deal over here. Okay. I love Murder Grandpa. Let me make that clear. I love Murder Grandpa. That's not working for me. Please stop making him a joke. He is not a joke. I'm a serious Japan person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not working. Quit ripping people off. Go and work backstage. There you go.
All right, so you go work backstage. You're telling that to the learning tree, huh?
Yep.
He needs to go to catering.
Pretty much.
Well, let's talk a little bit though about, and I'm actually a little bit confused. I want to know if you had any thoughts, because I don't know if we're getting this match on Forbidden Door or not, or if we're getting because it now seems like there's going to be the Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata versus some incarnation of the learning tree. But if it's not going to be Brian Keith, and it's obviously not going to be Minoru Suzuki, who's it going to be? And do you think it's time for a Spanish God to return? Let me, good Brent, what do you think? Is it time for the Spanish God to return?
I mean, yeah. I mean, what's going on? Why is it? I agree. I mean, that'd be great.
I got one better. One better.
What's that,
Why
Courtney?
not bring the Spanish God's wife back, please?
Well, I think that's imminent. She's been training, and that could be just the delay, is that they're trying to figure out their baby situation before they commit to anything. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Ty is imminent, and that's going to be interesting to see where she falls with this whole thing with Anna Jay joining the Outcast. But on the flip side, it almost seems like a no-brainer. This is a perfect opportunity for Sammy to step right in. Now, granted, I kind of was hoping he would be in the TNT ladder match too, but I don't know. But I'm also confused. Like, are we also going to get Jericho versus Suzuki in a singles match? Is that coming as well? I don't know. They haven't really fully announced the entire Forbidden Door card. Maybe we'll know more tomorrow, but I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But Let me get a quick, before we go to the next segment, really quickly. I'll start with Courtney and then go to Brent. How do you feel about the other side of this feud? Samoa Joe taking Hook and Shibata under his wing. Are you enjoying this storyline?
I love this storyline. I'll say it again. I love Samoa Joe. I love Hook. I love Shibata. I love what these three can bring to the table. Now, eventually, I see them getting the trios titles.
Ah, interesting.
Yes.
What about you,
I'm,
Brent?
I'm here for that trio.
I mean, I love Samoa Joe. I kind of think they don't have anything to do with all three of these guys, so they just kind of put them together. And I think they've been trying to put Hook with somebody. I mean, just kind of grooming him. But I kind of like. I mean, his character was kind of cool just by himself, but it always seems like they have to put him with somebody.
Yeah, it almost feels like they're forcing a personality on him, and I don't think he needs to be on the mic much. You know,
no,
like
and I think that's what was cool about him. Like you were going there. You know, he's just kind of mystery. Eats his chips, goes to the ring, kicks some ass, and then he leaves. You know,
that was my biggest gripe with Marina Shafir. Well, that and the way they booked her kind of fell apart. Is that, you know, the worst thing that they did was put her on the mic, because it's just like it takes away from the mystery. You know, she you know, like you look at pre-concussion, and you know, I don't want to talk about the horrible things that he did, but Chris Benoit, when in his heyday, didn't need to cut a big promo. He just needed to stand there with his face going, you know, like this, right, and he backed it up. And I think there's a place for someone like that. And I think Hook, the less promos, because when Hook cuts a promo, it almost seems forced. It almost seems like he's trying to cut a promo. Whereas like Samoa Joe, I believe every word he's saying. Yeah, he's almost up there with Eddie. But it's like, and I just hope they don't take. I love the Shibata translator thing, though. That gimmick seems to be. But yeah, it does seem like, and I actually think you're right. Even earlier, they weren't sure what to do when it was Chris Jericho and Hook kind of had a feud, but they were also supposed to be a partnership. It was almost like they weren't sure where to go with both of them, and so they kind of did that together, and it didn't quite work. But I have faith in the evolution process of AEW. When they throw something out there and it doesn't work, they don't just scrap. A lot of times they don't just scrap it; they tweak it and try to make it work before giving up on it. And I think we're in store for some stuff. And I'd love to see that Samoa Joe's team go for the trios titles. I love how proud Samoa Joe was when Shibata did the no look, and he's like,
yeah.
That to me was so awesome. But let's move on to the women's division, and the match, which in my opinion, I felt like this was the banger of the week for women's wrestling, because I always love multi women's wrestling. Like the one-on-one's fine, but the tags and trios are always great. And this was such a great, for my opinion, this was a great match because of the storyline. The Outcast really, we've talked about this before on Dynamite Download, about the Outcast needing that third member. But the storyline here where Toni Storm, and it was cute because it looked like there were times where Toni Storm was trying to act all Venus-y and trying to fit in. Let me go. I thought this was great. You guys know how I feel about Harley Cameron, how I've totally underestimated her, and how she has really won me over in the ring. Saraya, it was good to see her back in the ring. I think Anna Jay's a good fit for them. But it was such a great, all six women did fantastic. You know, Mariah May's the best. And the storyline, of course, the aftermath was great. I'm going to go to Brent. And then I know, Courtney, you've got some thoughts on the women's division, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But let's go to Brent first. What were your thoughts on this trios match?
I had a hard time to, like I said earlier, I thought the Ray Phoenix Jay White match was the best, but this was almost. I mean, this was. I couldn't make up my mind because I like you said, I enjoyed this so much. There were just yes. I mean, how great is Tony Storm? And she just keeps getting better and better. And like this whole dynamic and storyline is just blowing me away. And to incorporate, New Japan or the Stardom into this with Mina, she is fantastic. I mean, I'm watching this match. I'm thinking, man, wouldn't that be cool if she won the belt? I mean, I don't want Tony Storm to lose, but I mean, her character is just so much fun, and she's so good in the ring.
Yeah,
man, it's just like, wow. Like this was awesome. I love this storyline. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I mean, I think Tony Storm's going to actually win at Forbidden Door, but like, are they going to, since she hit her with the bottle, is that going to play into, a turn?
It's going to be interesting. There's so many ways they could go with this. I think, first of all, I echo everything you said. Tony Storm this is what happens when you let creatives cook them, for themselves. Let them in the kitchen, create, play around with these characters, because this character, Tony Storm, came out of nowhere, but it's one of the hottest things in wrestling. I love that AEW does something that WWE used to not do so much, was acknowledge that there's other companies out there, and acknowledging, Stardom, and, the hashtag We Want Mina is really taking off. They're still, they're still setting up the All About Eve scenario, because they're setting up Mariah and Tony to eventually have a feud. Is Mariah going to cost Tony the title? Is Mariah going to cost Mina the title? What's going to happen with that? She's being pulled in all directions. It's really going to be compelling to see where they go with this whole storyline. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. And I do think it's really making for some compelling watching. But for more thoughts on the AEW women's division, we've got ourselves a little hot take from Courtney. Let's hear from you. What are your thoughts on this match and the AEW women's division overall?
All right, this match was amazing. I've been watching some of Mina's stuff lately, and it's amazing what these women in Stardom and TJPW, Marigold, just to name a few Japan companies, because I've been watching Joshi wrestling for a while now. And so amazing match. Almost makes me wonder if this wouldn't be like a custody thing for like Mariah May.
Put Mariah on the pole
for so long, and maybe Tony doesn't exactly lose the title, but she loses Mariah May, and Mariah May goes off to Stardom for a little bit, gets her foot in Japan, and then when Tony loses the title eventually, she will go to Japan and get Mariah May back.
I see that, but I would hate for that to happen, because I hope the opposite. I hope we get Mina in AEW, but I see what you're saying, because I mean, New Japan and Stardom fans would flip out over that. I mean, that would be tremendous. And again, with the Mercedes Moné Stephanie Vacour match for the New Japan Strong Women's title, we're probably going to see a lot more frequent crossovers between those brands. But I just would hate to lose Tony Storm right now off our TV, just because she's like, as soon as the screen goes black and white, I pop, because it's like, here she comes. Woo! What did you think, though, Courtney, of the because they did this introduction to Mina video where it was like a photo shoot, and you had Mina goes, everybody loves Mina, and she did this whole thing, and then Mariah kind of commented on who she is, and then like a week later, they did a Tony Storm version, and it reminded me of when way back when Cody Rhodes and Jericho were going for the title. Cody did this video montage of how this was going to be his big challenge. He kisses Brandy on the forehead, and he's doing all this stuff. And then a week later, Jericho comes out with one, and he kisses Sammy on the forehead. And that's when we were introduced to Soul Train Jones with the breadsticks comment. And I don't know what a goat is because I'm not a Fama, but Chris Jericho is the greatest of all times. So Tony Storm kind of did the same thing with the Mina promo where she did her whole thing and goes, "My forbidden door is always open." You know, a lot of those innuendos. But let me continue your thought though. Your thoughts on the women's division overall in AEW at this point. What grade would you give the women's division? And do you grade on a curve from where they've come? Or do you feel like the women are really killing it now?
Well, my grade would probably be a B, because there's certain women wrestlers that I hadn't seen in months on AEW TV, and I would like to see more like women's matches on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Even though we had a fantastic trios match, and I would like to see maybe 2 Dynamite matches for the ladies, because one's just not enough for me as a women's wrestling fan.
Gotcha.
Okay, this is where I'm coming from, and I love like Abaddon, for example. I love the Zombie.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't see her but during Halloween. She is more than a Halloween character.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, and like
she's
Nyla
doing
Rose.
And both of them have been crushing. This is one of those things that I wonder, because, you know, where AEW, like, I sometimes feel like there's opportunities in the women's division for more storyline.
Right.
Ring of Honor is allowing the ladies to really cook. And like I've said this before, Ring of Honor Nyla Rose is 10 times better than AEW Nyla Rose, because she's able to be Nyla Rose. Same thing with Abaddon is getting a lot of reps in Ring of Honor. That's where Lady Frost has really been growing into herself. The Queen Aminata Red Velvet feud with Athena and Billy Starks.
And I would love to see all the ROH ladies get some AEW TV time, and that's where I'm coming from. It's not on the app. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things where it's kind of like the evolution of technology as it's and Bobby also talks about Trish Adora too, you know, in the infantry. There's so much cool stuff going on in Ring of Honor that's not on TV. But are we in an age where, like, streaming is, and especially now with, it sounds like there's a lot of streaming deals coming. Is Ring of Honor just too much wrestling for us to keep our eyes on? Should there be more? I mean, I used to complain that there was too much Ring of Honor in AEW. They need to stick to their own show. But now it's almost like we're not hearing from Dalton Castle. We're not hearing from Athena. We're not hearing from Billy, all the cool stuff that they're doing over there. And then, you know, for them to just show up on a random episode of AEW, are we missing out? I mean, is this stuff that we need a little bit more of? What are your thoughts? And I want to hear Brent's thoughts on this too.
Yeah, I think ROH could benefit from that TV time tremendously, especially the women in ROH, because I'm such a fan of them. I want to see them flourish, but I want to see them on AEW Dynamite too. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a good thing. I think Collision, we're going to have 2 women's matches, but
yes.
Brent, your thoughts? Do we need a forbidden door for Ring of Honor in AEW now, or are we at the point now where do you think we need to still keep Ring of Honor and AEW separate? Should there be a little more crossover? What do you think about that? And what do you feel about, what's your grade that you would give the AEW women's division at this point?
I mean, I think the women's division is amazing. There's so many great talent. Courtney's right. I mean, I wish we had a lot more, at least 2 matches on Dynamite. Sometimes we do get that on Collision. Very rarely though, I guess. But it's just I know why Tony Khan's doing it. I think he's maybe because of ratings. And there's so many men on the roster too. I know there's a lot more men. It's such a give and take. I just sometimes I just would rather watch the women. I look forward to their matches more because they're always so good, and I love the characters, and the ROH thing is rough. I feel like I have so much wrestling to watch that I just don't watch Ring of Honor. And like you said, I don't want to see a crossover. I like them keeping it separate, but there's so much cool stuff going on in Ring of Honor, and I could see why they're doing it to try to pull you in. It's rough. It's a rough call. I mean, I should be watching Ring of Honor, but it's just. I mean, it's a bad problem to have.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same. I almost feel a little bit guilty when I skip a ring. I try to catch up on it. I have watched ROH, the thing, but I'll feel bad if I don't watch the whole thing because there is such good stuff going on there. A lot of my favorite, a lot of our favorite wrestlers that we've all mentioned are there. But then again, the flip side is AEW needs to promote AEW. Maybe, perhaps someday, maybe Rampage could be ROH Rampage or something. Or maybe there's something they could do. But I'm with Courtney and you guys, dude. I'd love to see more women's wrestling, especially because I feel like the women are really stepping it up. There are a lot we haven't seen. We're all a little bit biased against La Mera Mera,
Yes, we are.
I do want to talk about a portion of the bracket that we may see her pop up in, be involved in. But there's a lot, there's a lot of female talent that are not on the screen and not due to injury. And I feel like there's stories that could be told. But again, they know what's going on there. I'd love to see that. We all love to see it. But let's talk about the Owen Hart tournament here. Now, obviously, we had Willow advance over Serena Deeb. So it's going to be Willow versus Chris Statlander. And I think that's not going to be at Forbidden Door. That's going to be, I think, next week. I think they're going to have that match because I think they're at Forbidden Door. They're going to have a tag match. It's going to be Willow and a New Japan or Stardom wrestler is going to join, and then Chris Statlander's got Momo. I think is going to join her. But look at the right side of the screen. I think we all were easily predicted the left bracket, but the right bracket. Let me start with Brent. What are your thoughts on what's going to happen with these two matches? And then I want to hear from Courtney.
I think I think we might be thinking on the same lines here. After seeing Perazo versus Thunder, at that Collision that I went to, and everyone was kind of wondering why she's not in the tournament. I think she's going to cost Deanna the match. I think Sheeta's going to win and then we might get another match between Thunder and Deanna. I keep pushing the cage match.
Yeah.
And then I kind of think that Mariah May is going to win. And then she's going to beat Sheeta. And I don't know what we're going to get with Statlander and Willow. We might get some interference and Statlander wins. Mariah's going to take it and take on Tony Storm, and that's the breakup.
Ah, interesting. All right, so Brent predicts Mariah's going to win the whole thing, and we're going to get Mariah versus Tony Storm at All In. Courtney, your thoughts? First of all, do you think we're going to see some Thunder interference in the Deanna and Sheeta match?
If we don't, there's a missed opportunity right there because we love La Mera Mera. So you know, I was shocked when I didn't see her in the tournament. But now that she said that, she gonna cost Deanna, and there's gonna be another match. I would like to see a steel cage match between Deanna and Thunder Rosa.
And like, what? How are they going to compete over like their no DQ match where Thunder used a table as a ramp? How can they top that?
Unless they do a hardcore, like an old school hardcore ECW match. I don't know.
Why weren't they talking about that matchup anywhere after it happened?
Well, in the social media was talking about it.
I
holy
know.
crap! I mean, it went viral, but then on TV it was as if it didn't happen. I mean, I'm like, come on, dude. you had I have never seen another. I'm sure it's happened, and probably in the independent scene, but I've never seen on a TV, and I've never seen a wrestler use the table as a ramp, and that's something Darby would do. But like, you know, I mean, Thunder's out here doing Darby stuff, and and again, kayfabe aside, I thought Deanna and Thunder killed it. I thought both of them were tremendous together. But pulling the kayfabe back, and of course my bias with Thunder, I can't believe that they're just, you know, they're not gonna bring this up. It's like, come on, this is Swerve and Hanger level feud. This is and the pop for if Thunder shows up and interferes in Deanna's match and costs her the pop is going to be tremendous. And you know, the Thunder Army is rabid. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping we get some representation with this. Interesting idea too. Both of you have talked about Mariah May. Courtney, do you think it's going to be Mariah over Saraya? Do you think Mariah's going to take the whole thing?
No, I have a different go about it.
Okay.
I'm looking at Sheeta win it all.
And then Sheeta versus Tony Storm at All In. Now that would be interesting.
Yes.
I mean, you got to think about it. Whoever wins this is likely facing Tony Storm in Wembley. And so Sheeta versus Tony Storm would be an incredible match. And they've got now until All In to build, you know, the feud up to make the story more spicy. Mariah May versus Tony Storm is kind of already built in. And it'd be interesting to see how that would shape up. But then again, we also have Saraya. I mean, you know, Saraya needs another, you know, Wembley moment. I don't know how many more matches she's got in her. That, you know, I hope Saraya is okay, because it's good to see her back in the ring, but she hasn't been as active as I would have liked to have seen her. But I think she's serving her purpose well, and putting her in a stable, you know, this Outcast stable helps her be more prominent on TV without having to do as much or risk re-injuring herself.
And then we also got to think about, we hadn't seen Jamie Hayter in how long?
True.
And her home she's from England, so where's Hayter? Because you can't hate her.
We've got a lot of ladies on the bench that are ready to jump right in. I know there's a certain dentist that some of us aren't fans of, some of us are, but there's a certain dentist that could return. Definitely Hayter coming back. What about Statlander winning the whole thing and it being a Statlander versus Tony Storm match at All In? I mean, do you think that would be a draw at all, or no?
That scenario would work too. There's so many scenarios you could do, because you got Willow versus Sat, right? Or not yet?
No, it is. She beat Tree and Deep, so we're getting Willow versus Stat.
Okay. So one of there's going to be shenanigans, obviously, with Stokely Hathaway involved. Okay? Maybe Don Callis' family shows up. Who knows? But there's going to be shenanigans, and they're going to probably double DQ and cost each other the match is what I'm coming down to for that one.
Got it. Brent, real quick, because we want to move on. We want to be respectful of everybody's time, but really, final thought: do you think Statlander? Are you locked in with your Mariah May theory?
I'm kind of thinking it's either going to be Mariah May or Saraya, but we've had Saraya versus Toni Storm before, so I kind of don't. But like you said, Saraya in Wembley. I mean, that's her, But isn't Mariah May? She from England?
Yeah, originally, yes.
So I think it's probably going to be her, but. Personally, I mean, I love Chris Statlander. Like, if I get a Chris Statlander Toni Storm match, I'm all for it. I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be cool.
Or as Courtney and others of us like to call Snacklander. But
Snacklander.
Let's get right to it. The main event. Now, I just want to give props to Gates of Agony for, in the position that they are. To not only put on a great show, but to have been formidable opponents. And, kudos to Swerve When I Bruv that they were able to really let them. One of the things I love about AEW lately is there's no squash matches, even when you pretty much know who's going to win. And I think they actually could have gone with the Gates of Agony getting a win. It would have perpetuated the main feud a little bit, but Gates of Agony did not look like jobbers at all. They looked like a dominant tag team, and so I thought that was great. Of course, a lot of drama going on. Courtney, your thoughts on this, and then we'll finish up with Brent.
All right. This was a great match. Kudos to Gates of Agony. This makes me want to see more of them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe go after tag team belts. Who knows? Just putting it out there. So they work well together as a team, and man, that kick, bro, woo!
Yeah, that was quite
on that too. Yeah,
that was quite the ending. Brent, your thoughts on the main event?
Oh yeah, I thought it was cool because you got to see them work together, Swerve and Ospreay, and like you said, the Gates of Agony. I think their future is. Limitless. They're so good in the ring, and they make everybody look good facing them. So I think they're a young team, and we're going to be seeing a lot of them. And it was cool to have the ending go off like that with the kick to Ospreay, and you kind of get that Swerve villainous.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were kind of going for there. So it was cool.
I don't see Swerve as a heel necessarily in this. In fact, I don't see either one of them as
no, I mean, if you heard the pops from the crowd, I mean, it was almost 50-50, I think a lot of I kind of want Swerve to win and keep the belt. Like I said before, I mean, I love Ospreay. I think he's great in the ring. He's almost above everyone else. There's not too many people that are as good as him on what he can do. But I don't know, Swerve, I think he deserves it. I think he's been working hard. He's defended the title almost more than anybody in the short amount of time he's had it. So I'd like to see him go to Wembley with the belt.
Well, that's the thing. You got to make sure that you're not going to be weak like Peppa Pig. That's what you got to cut a promo like my man Mark Briscoe, which I wish we had more time to talk about. But of course, Kyle O'Reilly jumping on to I love this new Kyle O'Reilly as kind of the mentee to Mark Briscoe on cutting promos. I hope that continues because that's just been tremendous. Before we go though, cool. Happy birthday to Uncle Dax. Happy the big 4-0, if you will. And what a cool birthday present he got from Cash and everybody. Not only was the Rated R Superstar and the Glamazon there, but also the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. If you get a chance, go on either Instagram or Twitter and check out Uncle Dax's live reaction. He's sitting there at a restaurant, and Brett shows up and puts his hand on his shoulder, and you see little kid Dax, like you see like 8-year-old Dax go, like you just it's such a cool moment. That FTR makes no bones about it. Bret Hart is a huge influence on them, and I just thought this was a great moment. I love these pictures that he shared. You could just see the smile on his face, the love and support. And Dax gets a lot of unfair hate. Dax and Cash, they get a lot of unfair hate in social media. It's good to see so many positive people in this picture. And we just, on behalf of the Dynamite Club Gold, SPD, and everybody, we just want to wish you a happy birthday, Dax. And we're just glad that you're doing what you're doing. Happy birthday, Dax. And you deserve some confetti for your birthday. There you go. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So awesome sauce, everybody. We're let me go to this version. Great. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. There's so much more going on. Tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, we're going to be doing our live Forbidden Door prediction show. The bingo cards are going to be going out. Remember, whoever wins in the bingo card gets 3 points in the draft. So Brent, I think you and I really need that push there. But I appreciate your support. Stay tuned for more cool stuff. Make sure you hit not only the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, but also hit the notification button, because you never know when a special interview might pop up, because the Bullet Club, the Dynamite Club Gold, we got 2 words for you. Dynamite's up or guns up. We'll figure out something. But we've got some interviews coming up too, so after 4th of July. So stay tuned for that. So on behalf of Courtney and Brent, this is Mind Runner. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll see you see you tomorrow night. If I press the wrong button,
Again.